Hi everyone, it's me, Tim. Today I want to talk about recent findings in fossilized endothermic therapsids. Now these studies are really exciting because... Oh, wait a minute. Nope, that'll have to wait. I want to answer a question from a master member about staying healthy while developing games. This came from master member RoboCG, who literally asked this in my previous video about being happy. And he asked, do you have ideas about being healthy? From what I can see, a lot of my fellow game devs, mostly artists, are not having a healthy work-life balance, which has caused some serious health-related issues. Maybe you have some stories. Ergonomics might be a side theme for that. It feels like most people neglect it. Me? Stories? Yes. Before I start, though, let me just say this. I have talked about work-life balance before. I have a whole video about it. I'm going to link it below. I don't want to repeat that here. I want this to be about ways I think companies have helped their employees stay healthy. And if you want to talk about work-life balance, please watch and comment on that video, not here. A lot of people view everything through the work-life balance, and at least we can keep those comments in an appropriate video. And I will answer them. I read all my comments. It doesn't matter if you comment on something a year ago or something recent. I read them and respond to them if I should respond to them. And that's something else. It's just if you have a question about something and I have something related to it, it's way better for you to answer there or for you to ask your question there, because if I answer, now it's under a relevant video where I've discovered that I have several questions I've answered over and over and over again because people ask them in the most recent video and I answer, and then a few months will go by and someone will ask the exact same question in the most recent video and I answer, and none of them are under any of the videos that are appropriate. So again, if you have a work-life balance question or comment, there's a work-life balance video linked below. What I want to talk about are negative health issues that game development seems to universally cause, not just in artists. I'm talking here as a programmer, designer, producer, but artists get this too. The audio folks get it. QA gets it. And I'll talk about how things have improved. I'll start with some things, and I'm almost immediately redirect you to that work-life balance one. Long hours. That's just something that is part and parcel with the game industry. I think this has improved, and I think crunch has decreased. I will go on record again as saying I do not think it can be completely solved because long hours kind of go with you're making a video game, which I view as much art as science, as much as making a movie or a TV show or writing a book. It can't be proceduralized. And I see many producers try to do it. Usually inexperienced producers are like, I will give them 4 weeks of R&D, and then we'll know everything we have to do, and nothing will ever change after that. Yeah. So, long hours, I think, have gotten better. I think we've gotten better at predicting how long things will take, but we've also gotten better at realizing that no matter what stage you are in game development, there's going to be additional time that you need to schedule that you can't account for. And even me saying that, and you try to account for it, there's still going to be time you can't account for. So let's jump into the next negative health issue, which is stress. The industry has always been stressful, still is stressful for different reasons. Back then, just getting in the game industry was difficult because there were very few game companies, very few jobs, and if you got them, you had to perform because so many people wanted your job. Now, that's true, but for different reasons. The game industry is much bigger. There's a lot more jobs out there, but there's also a lot of layoffs and turnover, and so that makes everything stressful. And there are a lot of people who want into the game industry even more than back then. Back then, I was told multiple times it was a silly job and I'm going to grow up and get over it. Now people see it as a career, possibly even a calling. I've got a video about that. But there's a lot of people who view it as 9 to 5, and that's okay. If you want to be my job in the game industry is a job, that's fine. Let's discuss that in my jobs, callings, and career video. The next really big cause of negative health is the amount of sitting you will do. You will do so much sitting when game development because you got to work on a computer, so you got to be at a desk. And when you're not at a desk, you're usually in a meeting. So it's sit, then more sitting, then go to another room and sit some more. Possibly go to lunch and sit even more. Things have gotten better in this, especially with standing desks. The last few years I was at Obsidian, I had a standing desk. That was great. My first standing desk was my old desk on cinder blocks, which was okay, but what that meant was there was no option. I was standing. We compensated. We got these desk chairs that could go up literally like a bar stool height. So you could still sit at your standing desk if you wanted to, but then my legs would dangle. It felt really weird to be 6 foot tall and having your legs dangle like you're a toddler. I felt like I was in a high chair. I finally got a mechanized one, and that was day and night. What I would do is I would arrive at work and I'd sit for an hour or so, and then I'd raise up my desk and I'd work for a few hours. Then I'd go to lunch, come back, lower the desk, sit for an hour or two, and then raise it again, finish the day standing. So I mixed standing and sitting, which apparently is what you're supposed to do. To me, it just felt comfortable that way. We also found ways of shortening meetings. So we tried to make meetings with just the people we needed in those meetings. When I did have the weekly team meeting, which at some point was 70 people, we held it in the only room in at Obsidian that could handle a meeting of that size. By demand, most people had to stand. It was done in this big main room we had next to the kitchen, and there were only a few seats in there, so most people stood, but we tried to keep that meeting to like 10 or 15 minutes. And it was just, here's an update. Here's everything you need to know about what's going on, like what's going on with the publisher, what's going on in the game. If you play the game, here's some things you should probably look at. Here's some really cool things that just went in the game if you haven't seen them yet. And that was it. We kept it to like 10 minutes. It's funny, I was talking about sitting, and when I was writing down this, I thought, you know what? Exercise kind of plays into this. And once I got past my first company I was at, Cybron, which was in the 80s. Yeah, kids, I'm old. Every company after that had really good options for employee exercise and making it easy and convenient for you. And it got better with each company. Let's start with Interplay, where I worked at in the 90s. That first building they had, well, the first building they had didn't have it because that was a smaller building over in Costa Mesa. But when they moved to Irvine, they bought a 2-story building that at one end had a racquetball court. We got it refinished, and people were playing racquetball there every day. We had to put a sign-up sheet because there were at least, I would say, half a dozen racquetball games every day. I started running a racquetball tournament, a racquetball ladder. In the newsletter, the company newsletter, I had a column called Ask Dr. Rackethead, and I'd take questions about how to get in the racquetball group and also what the rankings were. And that was fun, and everybody had a lot of fun with that. And it was great because you could literally play a full game of racquetball and take a shower on your lunch hour without even leaving the office, which means if you brown bagged it, like I frequently did, it was great. You know, you could go home at night and you've already gotten a really good exercise in the middle of the day. Troika, when I started Troika, I wanted something, but we were such a small company, we couldn't afford anything like that. And unfortunately, my cat that I'd had for 10 years passed away right after we started Troika. And I mentioned this in my pets video that I went and got a dog from the pound named Cooter. And he had separation anxiety, so I brought him to work. He needed to be walked every few hours, so I would go out walking him. The afternoon walk, I announced as, this is a group walk if anybody wants to go. It's 20 minutes. It was along this huge block that I think was half a mile on a side. So I think it was like a 2-mile walk. We'd do it in 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Because we walked slow and Cooter had to sniff things and poop. But we talked a lot. And some people learned that was a great one-on-one time. I need to explain a feature to Tim. Or I'm stuck on a particularly difficult programming bug. We could walk and talk. And then you didn't even notice you were exercising. And what I loved about it was Cooter got his exercise, he got his socialization in, and we were still doing work, kind of. It was a really cool overlap of that. Going up to Obsidian, Obsidian has a company softball team, so they encourage you to join. They also had a lease that included gym access in a nearby building. So right there, they're like, you can play on the company team and you can go to this company gym, and for no money whatsoever, you can get a lot of exercise in and hang out with coworkers. The really cool thing, Obsidian is right across the street from a giant open air mall. Really big one, famous one too. And if you went to there for lunch, that lunch included a free, somewhat long walk, especially if, like me, you like the really awesome, there was a Korean Mexican fusion joint, but it was on the opposite side of that mall. Just walking there and back was probably a mile. And I would do it because if you haven't had a kimchi quesadilla, you haven't lived. Anyway, those are just ways that companies kind of encouraged their employees to be more active without really strong-arming them into being more active. And I think things have gotten better over time. Real quick, I want to talk about two more things about what you do in development. One is typing. You will do a lot of typing. There's just a lot of stuff you have to do, whether you're using software or literally writing design documents or coding. You're doing a lot of typing. It's hard to avoid doing a lot of typing. But keyboards have gotten better over the years, especially ergonomic keyboards. I never even saw one the first decade I was in the industry. I'm not sure they existed in the 80s. Saw a few in the 90s, and it was usually some people who were getting carpal tunnel, which was a thing. People got a lot of carpal tunnel in the 90s. I avoided it, but I don't touch type. I hunt and peck. So I can type about as fast as I can think, which isn't that fast. I saw keyboards get better and better, more ergonomic. They split in two. I saw keyboards that hang off the side of people's chairs, so they were typing like this. Things only got better. Same thing with screens. We used to have these really low-res, big, boxy, heat-generating, enormous monitors. You want 2 monitors? Yeah, you're going to have to get a bigger desk. 3 monitors? That's insane. Now, flat screens, better resolution, way better contrast, and don't underestimate having a deep black is very useful. Far reduced reflectivity. All of this is so much better on your eyeballs. And by the way, I'm going to talk about color blindness again because every single optometrist I've ever seen, when they found out I had a family genetic adult onset color blindness, would often say, oh, you probably work on monitors a lot, because apparently there's something about working closely on monitors that take your cones? Really, it's hard on them because you're staring at usually brightly colored images. My code used to be yellow letters on bright blue background, which I thought looked cool. But you stare at that for 8, 10, 12 hours a day. Your eyes aren't used to doing that. Your eyes are used to looking at all kinds of things in the distance and near. And so not only did it aggravate my nearsightedness, but it probably triggered my color blindness because all my brothers and sisters have it, but they didn't get it until their 30s or 40s. And mine showed up when I was 20. My first time I went to an eye doctor, I missed one of those bubble charts at age 20. So I think screens have gotten better. And I think one reason my color blindness finally got to a level where it petered off was because of that. So I think that's all the things I can think of. Like I said, I think physical health has improved across the board at every company I've ever worked at, and things got better over time. But I'd sure love to hear what you guys think and what you think companies can do to even improve things past where they are now. And I hope this answered your question, RoboCG.